All right, those dropped frames have recovered and we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Sitting at My Desk Playing with Clay for 10 years. We are going to be continuing production on the camping episode for BrickBob Films. What's going on? Welcome to the stream. Working on the sea rhinoceros. Wait, can I? There you go. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, so this is an earlier stream. I got up, had to do something this morning, sat down at my desk, and I was like, I have to get back to work here. So we were working on the sea bear last night. We made the body right here. The body's baked. It's downstairs right now. It's cooling off. It will be ready for painting soon. And then, of course, we're going to get into working on like the head and the arms. We'll do that on stream. But I figured while we're already working with the Super Sculpey, yeah, Super Sculpey firm, might as well get a start on the sea rhinoceros, which should actually be a little bit more simpler to make than the sea bear. He's not going to have like wires and stuff inside of him because he's only on screen for a few seconds. I'm doing pretty well. How you guys doing? Yeah, this is an earlier stream, but that should be okay. Yeah, I kind of have a flow going after yesterday, so it's just like I just want to work on these puppets some more. And I'm really excited to do a little bit of sculpting right now because I have so much Sculpey that I have to get through. Permission to come aboard? Permission granted. But yeah, so I guess we're going to get right into it because the thing is we're going to have to condition this clay right here. This is already conditioned. I put it through the roller right over here. But I think we just got to get into it. It's going to take a little bit. And then we'll have a post going out onto BrickBob Films inviting people to drop on in and say hello. But with all that said, let's get right into it. Going on day 10 for BrickBob Films, the camping episode. Looking good, making something magnificent all together. Hello. I'm gonna have to open my own play. Yeah, so I don't know how long it took in our previous stream, but you pretty much just take this, and to prevent it from cracking, I like to run it through the clay roller a few times. Oh, yeah. So once it's been through the roller, it sculpts way better and it's way more malleable. And the main thing for me is that I just don't want it to crack after baking because that's just frankly infuriating. Yeah, it's an earlier spontaneous stream, but it's like raining so much today and I had such an itch to like I was like, "Oh, I have to work on the sea rhinoceros." Have I been to Disneyland as a kid? Nah. I never went to Disneyland or Disney World. For me, growing up, going to like Toys R Us, that was like my Disneyland, or going to Target, that was like my Disneyland. There's also like this grocery store. I think they're only in like Connecticut and New York. It's called Stu Leonard's, and it's like this big grocery store where they have like all types of cool, I mean, fun things like hot snacks that they make on site, and they have really good ice cream and stuff like that. But they also have animatronics there, like Five Nights at Freddy's type animatronics. And yeah, it's like all for like different food brands. Yeah, what's up, Straw? I know you were here like so late last night that it became early, right? So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing an early stream because for our international viewers outside of the States, gives them an opportunity to hop on in because I sort of have like my times like tailored to the United States like time zones. One or two more streams until the episode is finished. I that is an optimistic appraisal of the situation, but I do not think so. So here's the thing. If I wasn't doing these clay animation effects, well, actually, you know what? Maybe I think I'll just angle the camera down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. That makes a bit of a difference. Yeah, you were, it was like 4 in the morning. But as I was saying, if I wasn't doing these clay animation effects, you would very well be right. It probably would be another one or two streams, and then we would be done. But no, doing these clay effects adds so much time. I remember even for Squid Bob tentacle pants, the clay animation effects alone added between like 10 and 20 hours of extra work. It takes a lot of time. Because it's not just the animating, it's the preparing, it's the sculpting, it's the designing, and just all of that stuff. Oh boy, 3 a.m. Yeah, it's 3 a.m. It's time to watch Lorenzo play with clay. You guys are troopers. Yeah, it's a Tuesday, but oh, I do like to get most of my work done on like in the week. Not to mention the fact that it's like raining a lot today, and I love it when it rains or when it's snowing or anything like that because I'm like, yes, I can stay in my studio and just work on stuff without feeling guilty. The summer is the toughest because if it's a beautiful day outside, I'm like, well, I gotta go outside, get some sun. Legoland, California. I've never even been to California, but I'm actually going to be going next month for my it's going to be my first time. It's going to be an adventure, but I'll let you guys know how it goes. Maybe I'll go to Disneyland. Yeah, me and my cousin are going together. So so everybody, because yo, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Welcome everyone. Thank you for pulling up. So wait, here's the thing. I so if you're a member on the channel, you guys can use like special emojis that I can make. I made a few using Lolo the Lucky Clown and one of Squid Bob Tentacle Pants, but now that we got some members, now that we've crushed our membership goal for the month, I can add more emojis that you can use. I think I can add like two more. So it's just like I'm thinking, okay, what other emojis can I add? I feel like I have to add some emojis from like BrickBob films. Like I think of that like, you know, that frowny Lego SpongeBob face that I use all the time in my videos. I feel like I have to make that an emoji. Yeah, so straw, that's just the thing about Disneyland. Like going going to California next month, normally I would have absolutely no interest in going to Disneyland because first of all, California period is like I hear is like one of the most expensive places ever, and California just sounds like it sucks unless you have money, but it just so happens that like my cousin's family, like they live in the good parts of California, and my cousin's relatives work for Disney, so you can actually get in. We can get in for free, I think. But even then, I'm like, yeah, I get in for free. That's nice, but what if I want to buy a bottle of water and it's like, oh, that'll be $7? I'm like, nah. When I went to Tennessee a few months ago, this was right before I started work on the Popeye project. I started work on Popeye when I got back. I went to the airport, and keep in mind I've done like very little traveling in my life, you know? So I just like I don't have a lot of experience with things like airports. So I went to get like a the heck was it? I was bored, I was waiting for my flight. I was like, the flight might go by quicker if I eat something. I could eat a little something. So I go to get like a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich from like one of the local or one of the airport places. And there's no cashier there. And I'm like, wait, what do I do? And then there was like an attendant who was like, "Oh, you just pay at this kiosk." So I'm like, "Okay, thanks." And I don't know if it's different where you guys someone charged you for $7 for a bottle of water. Yeah, but nah. At our local like AMC movie theater, I've seen someone buy a water bottle, like a Dasani water bottle, for $5. That's crazy. So, shoot, wait, I have to start the work clock. My bad. So what happened was I was at the airport. I tried to get this bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich. Literally something that you would get at like a Dunkin' Donuts. It wasn't even a Dunkin' Donuts, but I tried to get it, and guys, I am not kidding. $19. Let that sink in. $19 for like a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich? Nah. I I look at the price and I'm like, $19? And the woman's like, oh yeah, it's a lot. And I'm like, I'd rather starve. And I put it back. Here's the thing, like, it would have been offensive if it was $10. Like if it was $10, I would have been like, if it was $8, I probably would have bit the bullet. Like I was like, oh, okay, I probably won't do this again. Just even $8 is way too much. But like $19, that's like no, that's highway robbery. That's coercion. That's what the heck is it? I'm just trying to think of more words. That is pure usury. That is oops, that ain't right. No. Yeah, that's another thing that made me like kind of reluctant to travel for a long time. It's like it's uncomfortable and it's ridiculously expensive. You eat like a lot of unhealthy food and you just get ripped off everywhere. Nah, man. Like there is this thing. The more expensive the food is, the worse it's gonna taste, you know? Sorry to hear about your back. Hope the surgery goes well and hope physical therapy goes well. I injured my back when I was 19 and one of the worst experiences of my life. So, heart goes out to you. I hope that you're going to do well. Hope that these streams provide you a little bit of comfort. I just know, I don't know what your back situation is like, but there's a good chance I was in your shoes too, if it's a lower back injury. If I were to do snowball effect, I would do it outside in the snow. Nah, nah. You need I would do clay. I just cover my set in white clay. I think when I was a kid, I just put like paper on the desk for the white, for the snow. Yeah, when I went to Tennessee, was traveling, I after the animation convention, like at nighttime, I wanted like some carbs before, some carbs, some protein before going to sleep. So we went to a Chipotle and like a burrito was like $10 and I was like $10. Meanwhile, like a few weeks before, I bought like a burrito for like $17 in Connecticut where I am. Oh my gosh. I kept buying more burritos. I was going crazy. It notified you for the wrong stream. Well, I'm glad that you're here anyway. Good to have you back. Yeah, Chipotle, they had my business. Yo, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Don't think we've had you here before. Yeah, I don't. I'm personally, I'm not super interested in going to Disneyland. Like, even if I had like the money, like I just would. Like, there's. It's one of those things where it's like when the second that you arrive at an amusement park, everything about the experience is specifically designed to get you to spend more money. Like that's why I'll never forget I went to what was it? Six Flags a couple years ago. It was a couple summers ago. And like it was fun, but it's very tiresome. A lot of lines, a lot of walking. Of course you're going to get hungry and just the thing about going to a place like that is from the you pay your admittance of course, but from the moment that you get there, everything is designed by a team of elite genetic scientists and theoretical physicists and psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever you want. Everything is designed to get you to spend more money. And that's why I feel like a lot of the most enjoyable things in life are either very cheap or free. The more expensive something is, the more I'm like, okay, I'm getting ripped off. Like, come on. Dropping shavings of clay onto my chair. I don't know how long I've had this chair for, but I've had it for a long time, I reckon. At least since I was in my old room. Keep in mind that I've been in this current room for coming up on 6 years. Yeah. I've never made a clay Kremling episode in this room. It was my old room where I was making clay Kremling. Yeah, we're working on the sea rhinoceros. We got all of the super sculpey firm out. So this clay over here is already conditioned. This is from last night, but we're just taking the rest of this and just putting it through the ringer. Takes some time, but it's worth it. This isn't something that you want to be like using your strength for. Like, just let the machine do it. Save your joints in your hands. Can I make a clay model of Squidward when he gets attacked? I don't think I'm gonna do that. That would be kind of funny though. I think I'm gonna have to like, god dang it, I'm gonna have to like cover the minifigure in like bruises and bumps and stuff. Yeah, I talked about this in previous streams, but when I was recording the lines for this episode, I was trying not to laugh for recording the lines for Squidward being attacked. It's so funny. And he just keeps getting attacked over and over and over. I'm just so glad to be using this Sculpey finally because like I have so much of this stuff sitting in my closet just needing to get through it all. Drunk SpongeBob. Does it though? Does Disneyland make you feel like a kid again? Because I don't know, man. So here's what I've been doing the past few days. So I don't know if it's just the state of mind I've been in, but I've been what I did was I was like, I want to watch a Studio Ghibli movie because over the past couple of years in particular, I've been exposed to watching like more anime. And I've seen anime that's not Studio Ghibli, but when I was a kid, what the anime that I saw, the only anime I saw when I was a little kid were Studio Ghibli movies. Nausicaa, House Moving Castle, Spirited Away. I loved those when I was a kid. So I so what I did was I rewatched Castle in the Sky. How many of you guys have seen Castle in the Sky? I know that Studio Ghibli movies have a lot of broad appeal, broader than most contemporary or classic anime, because some of these Studio Ghibli started in like the 80s, early 80s. Disneyland's full of adults with bars and alcohol. Yeah, it's I would imagine. No, I wanted to go to Disneyland when I was a kid, but I didn't have any. I never went, and now looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, it, as an adult with like with my own money, I can see that the value is really not up to snuff. I was fine just going to Toys R Us, but anyway, back to what I was saying. I will never forget. Castle in the Sky, that was one of those Studio Ghibli movies that I never, I think we had a copy of it, but I never really watched it because I was already rewatching Nausicaa and Kiki and House Moving Castle and Spirited Away. I was already, oh, and Princess Mononoke, one of the best animated movies ever. I was already rewatching those over and over and over. So Castle in the Sky was one of those animated films that I just didn't really get around to seeing as a kid. Chuck E. Cheese. I did go to Chuck E. Cheese growing up. I went to this one in the bar. There's this thing called the Barclays Center. It's a giant stadium in New York. I remember going to the Chuck E. Cheese in that neighborhood before the Barclays Center was even there, and I remember the sign showing up that says, "Ooh, the Barclays Center coming soon." Yeah, it was so long ago. And then there was one in Connecticut, but yeah. So anyway, our our local movie theater chain, AMC Theaters, they do the Fathom events, or the like they'll do a Studio Ghibli Fest thing where every month throughout the year or some months they'll play a different Studio Ghibli classic film. And I'll never forget, like, I think it must have been like December 2018. I went to go see, I saw that Castle in the Sky was going to play at the theater, and I was like, oh, I never really gave this a proper watch. I guess I'll go see it. So I drove to the theater by myself. I must have been like 16, 17 years old. And I watched Castle in the Sky properly for the first time in a movie theater. It was just me in the theater, I think, in Japanese, English subtitle. And to this day, I think it was one of the most magical experiences I've ever had in a movie theater. Like, watching that movie in the movie theater all alone, never properly like seeing it before all the way through. It was like, it was such a magical experience. Do any of you guys have a film like that? It doesn't even have to be like in the theater. If you did have like an experience in a movie theater, like, let me know, where it just made you feel like a kid again. Any of you guys have a movie like that? Or just like some experience in the theater that was so like unexpected, like, wow, I did not expect to enjoy this that much and for it to really touch my heart like that. That movie touched my heart and soul. But yeah, I rewatched it recently and I'm like, this movie is so freaking good. The only Studio Ghibli movies you've seen are Ponyo and Arrietty. I'm sorry to hear that. I make it sound like they're really bad. Here's the thing. I remember when Ponyo came out, and me and my mom and my sister, we were all so excited for it that we didn't want to wait for it to release in America. So we ordered like a Japanese copy from Japan. Somehow it, like, we ordered it on Amazon, or maybe it was eBay, one of the two. We didn't know any other websites for buying stuff. And we, like, there was no English whatsoever on any of the menus. We just had to guess at it. Straw? Yeah, don't worry about it. We are a family here at Lorenzo Volpentesta. We we this is a safe space for talking about nerdy stuff and kids movies, unless we're talking about Sponge on the Run. If any of you guys talk about Sponge on the Run in my stream, I'm coming after you. It's gonna happen. Wild Robot, that's a really good one. I saw Wild Robot in theaters because it was an original animated movie. DreamWorks had been, DreamWorks can make some really, really, really good stuff. Like they have the potential when they're not like making really high like intellectual property baby pop culture like products. DreamWorks can be pretty hit or miss, but especially after seeing the Puss in Boots sequel, The Last Wish, that's like an instant classic. That movie is so good. It has no reason being as good as it is. No reason. Sponge on the Run has good animation and a distinctive style. I will give it that. But do not be fooled. To anyone who has not seen Sponge on the Run, do not be fooled. It is a sham. It tricks you into thinking I can't I doctor told me to watch my blood pressure. I told him I'm like Doc, I just can't stand Sponge on the Run, and he's like every time you even think about Sponge on the Run, your blood pressure goes through the roof. Anyway, we were talking. Sorry, it's just like I don't know if I have the ADD, but I'm when I talk about nerdy stuff, I get all excited and you know and fluttery. And you guys, now I have an army of people in the chat, like all talking about movies that they watch. So I kind of bounce on different subjects. Who was it that only watched Arietti and Ponyo? Ah, okay. Yeah, so Jacob, Arietti and Ponyo, like they're well animated and stuff, but I would consider those way weaker relatively. I know that they have fans, but like Arietti, I've seen multiple times. I remember when it came out, and I remember watching it and being like, yeah, this has like it does have the good animation, but compared to compared to something like Princess Mononoke or even Kiki, like it's just it's kind of nothing really. Maybe I have to give it a rewatch, but I remember those didn't really leave much of an impact on everyone. Yo, welcome to the stream. Never seen you here before. No, we're seeing some new faces. You guys, let me know if you guys are dropping in from BrickBob Films. Yeah, we're just talking about movies and such. Oh, also remember to drop a like, everyone. Let's crush that algorithm. Yo, we got some new faces here. Guys, we are all working on the sea rhinoceros for a little bit of context. So, what I'm doing right now is I'm conditioning the clay by putting it through the clay roller. The sea bear, the body is already made. The blue area right here. This is the vision for the sea rhinoceros. It's going to be mainly hard clay, but conditioning the clay before baking it and sculpting it, not in that order, it helps preserve the clay, prevents it from cracking after it's finished. Have I seen the Shanghai ending? I haven't. I don't think I've seen them, but people keep mentioning them. Did I watch? Maybe I saw like the old like DVD extras one on YouTube. I don't really remember though. Who knows if they're even canon, right? Yeah, so I don't know how many anime fans do we have here? I have definitely been exposed to more anime since I've gotten older. When I was a kid, the only thing I saw was Studio Ghibli. But eh, here's get ready for here's a little story time for you guys. Here's a story time for you all. So, when I was 12 years old, I had this friend. He was a couple years older than me. He was like 14, and this kid really liked anime, but I don't know if he like if what particular taste he had, but like it he had like he had like really like bad taste in anime, I guess. Like I don't know what animes kids typically get into when they're like, 14, but I'll never forget being at his house. I'd go over to his house all the time and we'd play with Legos. We'd make Lego animations, play with Legos. That's what me and my friends would do growing up when we weren't playing outside and stuff. Okay. Like that's the thing. Okay, so you watch JoJo. Like even if you're not like a huge anime like connoisseur, like I would consider myself to be a person that like uh I'm not like a oh yeah, I'm a huge anime fan. I'm just like I'm a guy that enjoys films and animated films, and anime can have some really cool distinctive stuff. I think the only thing that I watched that wasn't Studio Ghibli as a kid was the Pokemon anime, like the old seasons, Indigo League, and the watched. I had a copy of the Digimon movie. You guys know the Digimon movie with the Angela Anaconda short that plays at the beginning? That's another story. But yeah, so get this. So my friend he he must have been trolling. I think he was messing with me because this kid would mess with me. I I was I was like Butters from South Park. That's how I was when I was a kid. And this kid must have been messing with me. I think he was messing with me, but he showed me an anime. It was like the first anime show that I watched that wasn't Pokemon on like my VHS tapes. It was called like it was called Baka Test. Look it up. You want to know what the funny? Do you want to know what the funny thing is? This was the kid that voiced the Flying Dutchman in the original version of Scaredy Pants that I made when I was like 12 on the BrickBob Films channel. This was the same kid that voiced the Flying Dutchman. He should Baka and Test is what it's called. A weird name. A lot of these animes have weird names. Code Geass. I feel like I feel like such a grandpa, I swear. I'm gonna find like a picture so I can show you Baka and Test. Oh, actually, I don't. I don't know if I want to put this on stream. I feel like uncomfortable. Okay, here's a picture. Yeah, okay, wait. Hold on. You guys are gonna get like a jump scare on my stream, but it's okay. You'll endure it. I believe in you. I believe in you guys. Or how is it? Baka test. Yeah, I remember, gosh, my stream is cursed forever. I remember seeing these. I'm trying to not block my thing. What has become of my stream? This is an anime stream. I remember seeing these girls being like, "Yeah," like greeting you. I remember this. So I'll never forget, like, the only memory that I have of the show. First of all, the show is so weird. It was the first anime show that I watched. I don't even know who this is made for, like what demographic this is. Where is he now? I could not tell you. I really couldn't tell you. So he was showing me an episode of this. I keep in mind, I have never heard anybody talk about this anime. I've never heard anyone bring it up. I think it was just some obscure, weird anime. But I distinctly remember him showing me an episode of this. Ew, yeah, that is an appropriate response. Maybe it's a masterpiece. I'm gonna get this off my screen because I just I can't. I really can't. I remember him showing me an episode, and there's like there's this young man who's like going to a school with a bunch of girls, and there's these two girls that are angry at each other, and they keep wanting to fight. They keep fighting with each other, but for some reason, whenever they would fight with each other, they would attack the boy. I don't know why. And I vividly remember, like, on numerous occasions, the girls would attack the boy and like put him into a leg lock. And in graphic detail, they would have like X-ray shots of like the boy's leg dislocating, like full on breaking. And I remember seeing that when I was like 12 years old and being like, I was like disturbed seeing that. It was like really disturbing to me. Straw, I think you may have hit the nail on the head. I look, I feel like he could have been trolling me, but you know what? That was like I remember that was the first like anime show like being shown like, oh, this is anime. Because when I was a kid, I didn't think like when I was watching episodes of the Pokemon show, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm watching anime. Or I didn't feel that way when I was watching Studio Ghibli or the Digimon movie. I just thought like, oh, I'm watching a cartoon. But this was the first time that I was ever shown a show where it's like, this isn't a show, this is anime. And I remember seeing that in Baka and Test and being a little kid, and I was like, I don't think I like anime. Because you know, I was 12 years old, so like the world hadn't quite ruined my brain yet, you know? I was still there's still like those little boy ideologies that you have in your head, you know? Yeah, Straw, I think there must have been some discovery. I'm just thinking of that scene in Missing Identity, SpongeBob SquarePants, when Mr. Krabs is like, "Oh, what is that stench?" And SpongeBob says, "Discovery." Yeah, I will never watch Baka and whatever again, but I that is the only thing I remember about Baka and Test, and I legit to this day I think to myself, I'm like, this kid must have been trolling me, or he just had like garbage taste in anime, because no, you have to take the bad with the good, I guess. But yeah, that's there's a little story time for you guys, a little bedtime story. Oh, you had a friend that liked One Piece. So I all of my friends, well, not all, like I have some friends that like anime, and all of them have said really good things about One Piece. I'll probably check it out at some point. Yo, what's up? Thanks for joining the stream. Will I make an episode of the Splinter? I don't know. I So here's the thing about the Splinter. If you're gonna make a an affectionate recreation of the Splinter, you also have to accept the consequences that might come with it. I feel like, given the reputation that that episode has among the SpongeBob community, yeah, it would be so cursed. I feel like with my more recently developed special effects skills, a my adaptation of the Splinter would be like the most vile, disgusting, atrocious thing you've ever seen. I don't I think it would get like an 18 plus rating on YouTube. Yeah, there was a Lego One Piece trailer. I still need to see regular One Piece. But I have this friend who's kind of like the same way as me with anime. Like he's not like this anime kid, like it's not part of his identity. He just watches an anime every now and again. And he took a few days off of work and he was like, I'm gonna watch One Piece. So he just spent the day watching One Piece. And then he messaged the friend group and was like, I just spent the day watching One Piece. It was a very, very good day. I'm like, oh well, if he likes it, you should probably see it. No, Johnny, don't do it. My friend did not, that same friend did not show me Live Leak, but I feel like he might as well have. Like I don't know. But Baka and Test, that was not it. That was ugh. I remember seeing, just watching those episodes of Baka and Test and like feeling like I felt a little dirty afterwards. Like I felt unclean. I was like, did I watch something like illegal or something? The Splinter was your first ever SpongeBob? Okay, so get this. When I was a kid, like I grew up with like the golden era of SpongeBob, first SpongeBob movie, all that stuff, all the good stuff. But I will never forget, like, my mom would get me SpongeBob VHS tapes and then eventually would get me SpongeBob DVDs. And there was a period of time when my mom, like my mom knew that I loved SpongeBob and I was making animations of it and eventually and stuff. So she always supported like me watching the show. But gosh, she said she would tell me, she was like, Lorenzo, for a few years, I just could not be in the room when you were watching SpongeBob because there were several episodes that were so disgusting that like she could not bear to look at it. And the Splinter was one of them. Another one was to love a patty, the one where SpongeBob falls in love with a Krabby Patty, and there's like there's like a couple gross up shots that are the most disgusting, horrible thing you've ever seen. Read One Piece, don't watch it. Really? Maybe I'll check that out. Because here's the thing, the thing that just I cannot stand about television is the filler. The just even the best shows on TV will have some filler every now and again. I just can't stand it. It's so like, oh my God. One of the reasons I very much prefer movies to television TV shows is because it's like there is an art to telling a story within a finite amount of time. And even if I watch a show that I end up really enjoying, like Breaking Bad, I'm watching Invincible right now. I saw all the episodes of Invincible, but now I'm watching it again with my family. I'm showing them it. First time I watched it was with my girlfriend. But like rewatching Invincible, then it's when you're rewatching a show that you can see in hindsight, like, oh yeah, this plot line and this plot line and this plot line are all filler. They can say something about the theme of the show and stuff like that, blah blah blah, but still, I'm just like, filler just really really bothers me. I don't know if I'm just impatient, but like I do think that there's a very special art to not having to over explain everything and have certain aspects of the relationship be implied. Like I'm not like when I was watching Digital Circus, like not saying that this is filler, this is just like a different writing philosophy, but like you have a lot of moments in Digital Circus where the characters will like sit around and talking about their feelings, and like for me that's not my thing. Like I'm glad people enjoy it, and I don't think it's bad, but based on my tastes, I do like a healthy balance of plot and character work, preferably a bit more plot. I'm not interested in seeing characters sitting around talking about their feelings for hours and hours. But also it's not really just even like a filler thing. It's also like the reason that I love classic SpongeBob is because the writing is very self-aware, but the characters are not self-aware at all. They're really ignorant to everything happening, and that's what makes it so funny. Bricklink, eBay, usually eBay. For getting stuff for episodes of BrickBob Films, I'll usually go to eBay if I need something. But I'm at this like good spot with BrickBob Films where I pretty much kind of have like everything that I need, unless I have a very specific thing in mind. Like if there's something that I need to fulfill my vision for a certain episode that I want to make, then I'll get something on eBay. But if possible, work with what you have, you know? Because that's what you're doing in stop motion all the time. You just work with what you have. This is a it's a very physical task that I'm doing right now, but it would be so much harder to do it the other way. One Piece has a disgusting level of padding. No way is it worse than Dragon Ball. I've never watched Dragon Ball, but I tried watching Dragon Ball Z. I even have like the Blu-ray complete series box set. It was like the collector's edition. I have that, and I could not finish it. I tried I have tried valiantly to watch the entirety of Dragon Ball Z, and it is probably one of the worst paced shows I think I've ever seen. It's got really, really bad dialogue, and it's got so much filler that basically nothing happens in an episode. I've talked about this before. It's like I remember the Pokemon show. That show had an overarching story, but every episode felt like a satisfying experience. Brock and Ash and Misty would walk into a new town. There would be a problem. They'd meet some people, get some exposition. They would try and solve the problem, fight Team Rocket, save the town, move on to the next thing, meet some new friends, get a new Pokemon. Every episode was like a satisfying, like, it was a satisfying experience. But Dragon Ball Z, you just like, nothing happens in the episode, and then you hear the narrator be like, next time on Dragon Ball Z. And I'm like, what? But nothing happened this time on Dragon Ball Z. Like, what? Seasons 15 of SpongeBob is peak? Really? Maybe I should try and watch like all the new seasons. I don't know, it's just it's to me like modern SpongeBob, it's not the same show, you know what I mean? Jesse's your favorite Pokemon character? Yeah, that's very fair. I loved Jesse and James when I was a kid. There's such awful villains. Like and by awful I mean like they suck at what they do so bad. But just like them and a talking Meowth, so I love that trio. I had so many good memories watching the Pokemon anime growing up, starting from the first season, first episode. And I really tried to give Dragon Ball Z a chance, but I just couldn't get into it. I think the Dragon Ball Z has great mythology. It has a great, like, very iconic lineup of characters, great, very nostalgic art style. But it's just it has too much holding me back from being able to get into it. Oh, Rachel Lillis passed. Didn't she voice Misty too? It was trying Dragon Ball Z was trying not to catch up to the manga. That's so clumsy though. That's so clumsy. Like what are you doing, dude? Yeah, the writing for something like Dragon Ball Z compared to like the Pokemon show is it's night and day difference. All right, I think we should be good here. Look at that. Do I consider Lego stop motion or stop motion in general to be the central point of your BrickBob channel? That's actually a really good question. I I would say stop motion in general. You know what I mean? Because I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like nowadays BrickBob Films isn't just a regular brick film channel. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of Lego brick film channels on YouTube. It's its own niche on YouTube. But especially since like I do stop motion for work and I work in other mediums for stop motion animation, I try to merge that into BrickBob Films with stuff like my special effects, and the end result leads to seeing things in BrickBob Films that you're just not going to see in other that you're not going to see on other Lego stop motion channels. Like I watched Lego stop motion channels growing up and all of them had like their own unique qualities about them that I liked that kept me coming back. But but they didn't have what I'm doing in BrickBob Films. They don't have the 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 clay stop motion Mr. Magic or Squid Bob Tentacle Pants or the the gorilla attack scene or the hibernation Sandy sequence. Like they don't other brick film channels don't have that, right? Oh, the voice actor for Meowth passed away. I I saw a few episodes of the Pokemon anime when I was a kid. Like I had a couple of VHS tapes that had like a few episodes back to back, and that was the only VHS tape that I had. So I'll never forget that the episodes that I had, it had like the whole like tentacool episode when like the tentacles and the tentacruel like invade the city and they the last episode was the one with that creepy little girl when they go to Saffron City and fight Sabrina, and then the episode ends with Ash being told that he has to get a ghost Pokemon, and then Team Rocket gets frozen, and they Meowth is dragging him by the rope, and it says to be continued. I remember I didn't know what happened for years after seeing that because I didn't have any other way to watch the show because I only had one VHS tape. I think we got the VHS tape at like Goodwill or something like that. But I had a friend that liked Pokemon that lived in my neighborhood, and I asked him like if he'd seen the show, and he was like, "Yeah." And he's like, I have all the episodes on VHS." And this kid had a bag in like his attic, all of the episodes from the I think it's called the Indigo League for the Pokemon anime. He just had them all the VHS tapes labeled in a bag in his closet or his attic, and he just gave me the bag, and I put them I binged them all. Those were such good times. Do I plan to use the new Lego SpongeBob figure for your brick films? No, I don't. I do not. I don't like how it looks. It looks really weird. Like, I don't know why the arms look so. They don't look like a Lego character. But personally, I think that, well, already, even if the design for if the new Lego SpongeBob figure, even if I liked it better, it would already I would already be inclined to not use it for my episodes because keep in mind that the original Lego SpongeBob minifigure, there are so many different prints for that template. I have so many different expressions that I can use for Lego SpongeBob in the BrickBob Films episodes. And by using that, like I can continue to use all of these different expressions that Lego SpongeBob has. Yeah, so the new Squidward is superior. So I would say that the new Squidward is definitely superior. The colors are more accurate to the show. It has more detail, has way more printing on it. It definitely is technically superior, but even then, like the Squidward that I'm using right now, I have two versions of it. I have the one with the specially molded head, the one that looks like Squidward's head. But I also have the original version with the regular Lego shaped head. And that means that I can use both of them if I wanted to. If I want to like give Squidward a hat, for example, like I'm planning to do, hopefully when I get to make Dunces and Dragons sometime. I really want to make Dunces and Dragons, but that's going to be a ugh, huge episode, huge project. But yeah, it's like there's not there's no other modern Lego SpongeBob sets. Like if there were a whole bunch of different faces, a bunch of different sets that had the new prints, then there's more of an ecosystem that I can kind of build off of. But right now, I mean, I'm guessing that it's only just going to be those two Lego SpongeBob sets, the Bikini Bottom set and the Brickheads figure, you know? You can put a hat on the new one, but it needs some modification. Yeah, so for this episode that we're filming right now, I made a clay sombrero for the molded head. You can see it in one of our previous stream recordings, but yeah, I just like sculpted like a little sombrero with clay and just stuck it on the top of the head. Yo, welcome back to the stream. Yeah, the old line gave us a lot of variety. I agree. There's just more to kind of work with because already there's limitations with the old Lego SpongeBob sets, and considering that this is just like it's clearly like a special line, really expensive set. It's not like these are made for kids because people are always saying that modern Lego is like more for adults. They're more like collector's pieces. Yeah, I don't know if I would use like I don't even know if I would use the new houses for my videos because keep in mind that the old houses, those sets had a completely different design philosophy. Were they pretty? No, they weren't. But they were designed for play. The new ones are not designed for play. Their functionality is to look like the show more. So they're prettier. But they're definitely not, they don't work as well as like as for play. So it might be a little bit more difficult to film with them. I would also want to know what the dimensions are for the new sets and how they compare to the old ones because that's another thing to factor in because I need to know how it's going to change. Like, am I going to have to change the way I film the sets and such? It's just, you know. I like all the references that they have in the new set. I like that. I think it's cool that they included a doodle bob. Oh, do they say the dimensions on the site? I'll have to take a look. That would be really useful to know. Just getting started. We're gonna have to take just start kind of building out the shape and then start taking away. Yeah, is does it say on the website? Not asking you to leave my stream, but like, be interesting to know. Maybe I'll look myself. Let's have a look. Looking at the website right now. 1,800 pieces, rounding it up a bit. Dude, that Brickhead's SpongeBob figure is like the worst looking thing ever. It's so bad. God, the new Lego SpongeBob figure is so weird looking. Dimensions. The 1794 piece set measures over 9.5 inches high and 21 inches wide. 5 inches deep. I mean, like, I don't feel like getting up to my, like, that's the thing. There's like multiple buildings though. Like, are we talking about SpongeBob's house, which is the tallest? Over 9.5 inches high. Pretty freaking tall. 21 inches wide. I don't think that's really accurate though, because there's like three things. 9.5. Because here's the thing, I like getting precise measurements for new stuff. I like to know how it's going to fit in my workspace. Eh, may need to wait for more precise measurements when the set comes out. I don't know. I feel like I would wait and buy a used one on eBay or something. Not like it would be that much cheaper in the beginning, but like I don't know. It's like I I don't know if it's really that worth like spending like, oh yeah, I'm gonna spend the $200 and get this new set that I might not even be able to use that much. God damn it. I have clay on my hands, so measures over 9.5 inches high. Like SpongeBob's house? I'm guessing SpongeBob's house because it's the tallest. I don't buy Lego sets really. Like new Lego sets, like even on a normal day, even when it's not Lego SpongeBob. So I'm just like, really, my main concern is functionality of it. I don't want to buy it just because it's a novelty. You know what I mean? Remember when you made, yeah, Patrick roasting SpongeBob? Yeah, I don't know why I made that. That was like, well, actually, I kind of do. That's like, I was just trying to get views, I think. But yeah, I remember playing GTA 5 and that scene happening, and me and my friends would joke about that like all the time because we thought that the way Lamar said his lines was really funny. But then randomly, like really, really randomly, like 10 years later, maybe not 10 years, but not far from it, better part 10 years later, it just became a meme. What's the worst season of SpongeBob? I mean, I remember seven being pretty bad. Like, here's the thing: like, there was a huge quality drop off after the first movie, and like, even though the seasons following the first movie, like, even though there was the big quality drop off, and there were an increase in straight up bad episodes, there were some bangers in there. Like, there really were. But I don't really remember. It must have been around like the time that I kind of stopped, maybe season 7. I just remember like really getting turned off by the amount of episodes where it's like Squidward just being terrorized by SpongeBob, and I'm like, this isn't funny. Like, it's just sad and creepy. Boating Buddies, I remember being like, that was like one of the worst episodes I felt like I had yet seen the first time I saw it. Like, I really thought that episode sucked. What's the one with Skill Crane? Good Neighbors. That's like the sister episode. Good Neighbors. That episode really sucks. Pal for Gary is really bad. Are You Happy Now is like horrible. Squid's Visit is like, here's the thing: if it's trying to be funny, it's bad, but it works really well as like a horror concept. That's such a creepy episode. Season 7, 12, 13. Yeah, I don't, I've never seen anything from 12 or 13, I think. Bubble Stand, that's a good episode. Yeah, the new set has a bubble stand reference. Gosh. Yeah, there's a few trinkets in the new set that's coming out that I'm like, oh, I could have used those in past videos. That's how you know they did a good job at like adding detail and like references. Like, they have Penny, Chip, and used napkin in the set. They have Doodle Bob. They have the Squidward's tanning bed, or just his little lawn chair, and the reflective thing for him getting a tan. Yeah, and has the bubble stand. Probably a few other things I can't think about. New Lego Boatmobile's pretty cool. People who don't know the references will think, eh, they just won't, they won't be like, oh, that thing. They just won't nerd out over it for like 10 seconds. It's a giraffe. Yeah, I'm ugly and I'm proud, and Squidward's on top of his he's on top of his like his roof tanning. That's what I thought of when I saw that. I'm like, oh, that's from I'm ugly and I'm proud. Something smells. I feel like out of pure obligation, I may have to like watch like I would only be interested in seeing new episodes of SpongeBob like for material. Like, oh, okay, I'm looking for a new episode to do. But here's the thing, I haven't ran out of episodes like that I want to make or that people have asked me to make. Like, I'm not running out. I haven't had to go searching. But wait, so for the memberships, you can do I can make custom emojis. What would be some good emojis I could make? Because I was thinking of doing some like ones of like Lego SpongeBob characters, but like I want like specifically though, like what moments are there from my projects that would make like an excellent custom emoji? Yeah, the sea rhinoceros undergarments. We're gonna need it after this. Yeah, for me, watching new episodes of SpongeBob came in the form of my mom buying me DVDs from the store. So it's not like I was seeing the episodes as they would air on Nick. So once she stopped getting me DVDs, that was kind of it. And really, like when SpongeBob was on Netflix, they had like the first 5 seasons, and I would pretty much watch those first 5 seasons over and over. I keep thinking of that moment when SpongeBob's crying in the movie theater in Something Smells. And it was like, oh, I'm not as confident as I look. Maybe I should go back and hide. And Patrick just picks up SpongeBob and shows him to the whole theater and says, look at it. It's ugly, isn't it? God, it's so funny. That's another perfect example of like the characters are so unaware and that's why it's funny. A stop motion series I loved for that same reason was Clay World, which was a series that started on Newgrounds, but like I it just I thought it was so funny where like you have these characters are so dumb, and in Clay World like none of the characters have faces, so they're like treated very disposably. Like there's a lot of death in it. I recently watched the Clay World movie. Is Clay World off the table? Because I never knew that there was a movie. I definitely would have watched it as a kid if I knew about it, but I didn't know I didn't know that there was like a feature length movie. It was basically a feature length YouTube video, but still, like it's like even though it's not like a feature film quality presentation, it's just one of those things where it's like this was made by one person out of the sheer passion of doing it, and the distribution model was able to get this passion project to a substantial audience, and that's what I love about the internet. Clay World, yeah, with a K. Dude guy is in that. Oh, now I know who you're talking about. When he smells the bad breath. It was a meme. What's up? Welcome to the stream. Well, let me show you what we got so far. Still kind of getting the shape, but we're on our way. Also, it just so happens that the sea rhinoceros is like gray, so he looks more done than he actually is. My magic emoji? I don't think I can use my own. Oh, wait, can I? Oh, yeah, wait, I can do it. I wonder what they look like on the. Oh, yeah, okay. It's just text on the playback. Yeah, these are the ones I was able. These are the custom emojis that I was able to make upon initiating channel memberships. I'm gonna make this go away. But I want to like I can add more now that we hit our membership goal. So if you guys have any suggestions, like if there are any clips from my videos that you think would make a good emoji, let me know. Angry hibernation, Sandy? Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's a good one. I could get one of her like growling or roaring. Big eyes or big mouths would work in emoji. Oh, the claymation Squidward. Yeah, I have such like a deep back catalog of different stop motion characters. Like I don't even know where to begin because I'm always moving from one project to the next. You know what I mean? Forgot my window was open. Or curtain. Painting this one's gonna be fun. Painting both will be fun. Worst season 3 episode? I'm gonna have to look up the lineup. Worst SpongeBob season 3. I have a lot of nostalgia for the season, but I'm sure I could find one. Let's have a look. Uh, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4, I'm not really a fan of, but it's definitely not like a bad episode. Doing Time's a really weird episode, but it's not, I wouldn't say that's bad either. I was never into Krusty Krab training video. People say it's one of the best SpongeBob episodes in existence. I never saw the appeal for it. Oh, student starfish, clams. There's so many good episodes in this season. Oh my god. I don't think there's like a bad episode in this season. God, it's amazing. There is not a bad episode in season 3. Great snail race. Some we have someone say great snail race. I I would agree. Missing identity. That episode feels like a bit more like redundant because of the whole like oh SpongeBob's retracing his steps thing. I personally like missing identity. I definitely I definitely agree with Great Snail Race. Like, that's like an episode where SpongeBob is so out of character. Yeah, SpongeBob's really, really out of character in Great Snail Race. Cause like there was Gary takes a bath where SpongeBob has to be stern with Gary, but SpongeBob just kind of came across like a stern parent when Gary won't take his bath. But in Great Snail Race, SpongeBob's just like really, really, really ruthless. A strict parent indeed. Yo, welcome to the stream. Working on our sea rhinoceros. Kind of getting the shape there. Yeah, we were discussing what the worst episode of season 3 SpongeBob is. Yeah, maybe Great Snail Race is like that one's like that's the thing. There's no straight up bad episode, but that one's definitely like the weakest. I think it would be easier to point out not very good episodes in season 2. Season 2 has like some all-time greatest episodes of SpongeBob, classics. But even then season 2 had like it had I'm with Stupid, which is pretty not good. And I mean, very mean-spirited episode, and it also had Dumped, which is one that I not a fan of. That's like that's one of those episodes where it's like so I've talked about in the past where the reason SpongeBob's like so amazing is because the writers they'll take one concept and milk it for jokes for 10 minutes, and it's led to some like legit like amazing episodes of television. It just works so well with the archetypes. But then you have something like Dumped, or I think another one would be all that glitters. Like in Dumped, SpongeBob loses, like Gary abandons SpongeBob, and in All That Glitters, SpongeBob breaks his spatula. And those episodes aren't funny; they're just kind of depressing. They're like really sad. I'm like, yeah, this isn't a very deep well for comedy. Like, oh my god, SpongeBob's sad that his snail doesn't wants to be with his best friend instead. Like that's it's not a very deep well for comedy. Party Pooper Pants. Yeah, I know that some people aren't too big on Party Pooper Pants, but I'm a sucker for the SpongeBob episodes, the specials with Patchy the Pirate. I love the scenes with Patchy like trying to host his own party and the bird brain showing up and then the song that happens at the end. Overall, like the episode itself, Party Pooper Pants, is not anything remarkable. Like I don't think that it really I don't think it really lives up to like the prestige that a SpongeBob special should have. But then again, I don't know. And like Sponge Who Could Fly is a pretty tonally different episode, but I have too much nostalgia for that one. It's it was the first episode of SpongeBob I ever saw. I think it would be way easier to say what the worst episode of season two or season one is. SpongeBob season two. Let's look at these episodes. Oh my God, Life of Crime is so amazing. That is an amazing episode. Dumped is not. I'm not really into Dumped. I don't really like squirrel jokes that much. That's another one I'm not really into. That's another where it's like there I don't know, there's cuz there is a lot of mean-spiritedness in the SpongeBob universe cuz like a lot of the pedestrians and like the extra like the background people tend to be pretty mean. But there's something different when you see like SpongeBob doing it. Like SpongeBob becomes such a jerk in squirrel jokes. It's a also he could impress like people that don't even matter like Pressure is a another pretty like mean-spirited episode, but that finale is just so amazing. When they go on land, it's just so good. Smoking Peanut. I do not like that episode. That episode I wouldn't say it sucks, but it's not far from it. I never understood the appeal of Smoking Peanut. I feel bad because like, it's from a great season. People like it, and I get requests to do it, but I'm not a fan of Smoking Peanut. When Patrick rage baits SpongeBob. Yeah, I'm with Stupid's pretty bad. Smoking Peanut is just like I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to do like a parody of like, oh, what if SpongeBob thought that he committed a crime and felt guilty about it? Let's get 10 minutes of comedy from that. But then you have an episode like Life of Crime. Oh wait. Yeah, from the same season aired before. Life of Crime takes it's everything that the Smoking Peanut wants to do. It's everything that it wanted to be and it just does it effortlessly. Smoking Peanut is if you took Life of Crime and just made it worse in every way. The stakes are way too high. The and it snuffs out the whole comedic aspect of it. It just makes the episode feel depressing and sad. In the resolution, it's just like, okay, everything turns out fine at the end, but I really don't like Smoking Peanut. That's definitely an episode where every time it comes on, I'm like, yeah, skip. Krusty Love, there's a one of the writers for the pre-movie era of SpongeBob. We follow each other on X. I remember he was tweeting with me when I was making the Fry Cook Games claymation. He liked some of my work, but he was like, I remember he said in like one of his tweets, he wrote for the episode Krusty Love. He said that he thought that that was like the weakest episode they made. Krusty Love is just it's just kind of whatever, but I wouldn't say it's nearly as bad as like Smoking Peanut. I'm with Stupid's probably the worst. Let's take a look at season one. Season one, baby. I'm sure I could pick. I could go with my gut and be like, yeah, don't like this one. Help Wanted and Reef Blower, I'm not even gonna count. Or Tea at the Tree Dome, because those were like pilot episodes. They're pretty tonally different from the rest of the show. It's a very special season. It's very tonally distinct from the rest of the show. I remember like the latter half of Squeaky Boots like kind of freaked me out when I was a bit younger. Not completely, but Nature Pants is okay. A lot of good episodes here. I need to rewatch season one. Oh, Rock Bottom is so good. Texas, so good. I like the animation in season one the best of all the pre-movie seasons. Huh. None of them are really jumping out at me for like the worst. Yeah, it's definitely like it's a very different season. Oh, jellyfishing. I do not like jellyfishing. That one's easy for me. I missed it at the beginning there. That's easily my least favorite episode in season one. It's definitely not the worst episode of SpongeBob. Like it really isn't. But I just like it's just kind of depressing. It's like it's you're just like poor Squidward. That's another good example of like a SpongeBob episode that really misses the point of like why Squidward and SpongeBob's dynamic is funny. Like the whole time Squidward's just being tortured. Like I don't find it funny that like Squidward is like immobile and he's just being tortured the whole time with SpongeBob and Patrick's stupidity. Neptune's spatula is like also like King Neptune is such a jerk in that episode, but at least it's King Neptune being a jerk and it's not like SpongeBob. I'm trying to think if Fools in April is bad. I don't think it's too bad. Yeah, but here's the thing: SpongeBob season one's weird. I have to be in the right mood to watch it. Like season two and season three, you can just turn it on any old day and you'll have a great time. But there's something about like the ambiance in season one and even the comedy in season one that it hits different. I get like a longing, like a sense of longing while watching it, like seeing the old animation style. It has that like that 90s cartoon glow to it. The art style is so different the in like going from season 1 to season 2, the art style is like completely different. The writing is definitely it improves in a lot of ways, but season one is special. Yeah, I've made I think almost every episode from season one. That was another that was another box set that I got when I was a kid. I had a season three box set that I got for my birthday, and then a season one box set. One course meal. Yeah, that's like that's another really bad episode. Yeah, that's another thing where it's like that's another thing where it completely misinterprets why Plankton has such a funny dynamic. I think the first SpongeBob movie uses Plankton so well. They just get him perfect in that movie. He's so he's so pathetic in the first SpongeBob movie, but at the same time he's also very maniacal and capable and evil and destructive. Like he's like Syndrome from The Incredibles. Like they really hit the sweet spot of making a genuinely like threatening and capable and cunning villain while also making him like completely pathetic at the same time. It's not easy to do. But yeah, like one course meal, it's like you like seeing Plankton lose because he's trying to literally steal the formula, but then you have one course meal where it's just Mr. Krabs just bullying Plankton. I'm like, why? Like I get it. He tried to steal the thing, but you foiled his plan. Leave him alone. Like why are you doing this? Yeah, the one where SpongeBob turns into a snail. I was a teenage Gary. I thought the episode was creepy when I was a kid. I thought that was like an appropriately like SpongeBob Halloween special. There was a SpongeBob Halloween DVD that I had as a kid, or I think my cousins had it, and I remember that Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, of course, Scaredy Pants, and I was a teenage Gary. They were all on it, and I think Frankendoodle too. That might have been an extra, but I think Frankendoodle was on it. I think my cousins had this DVD. But yeah, so the first year that I was making BrickBob films in 2013, I what I did was I made for the holidays, I made the the episodes that I associated with the holidays from what was on the DVDs. So of course I had the Christmas Who DVD growing up, and there was the Halloween one. So I did Scaredy I did Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, Teenage Gary leading up to Scaredy Pants. That I think I posted on Halloween. Zathura. Yeah, I remember that scene when the kids are watching uh what the heck was it? SpongeBob comes on the TV and and he and then the kid Josh Hutcherson, the older brother, he switches the channel and puts on like Sports Center, and the little brother's like, "I was watching that. Can we watch SpongeBob? You used to like it." And I remember just seeing that. I'm thinking like, "Oh God, when I'm 10 years old, am I gonna want to watch football?" And then lo and behold, I turned 10, and no, I did not. I am currently 24 years old. I would watch SpongeBob any day of the week of my life than football on any day. Yeah, the it's a giraffe scene. Yeah, Zathura. I remember seeing Zathura as a kid. That was a movie that like fascinated me, but also like terrified me because there's like some nightmarish scenes in that movie. Gosh, the big creepy house, the Zorgon invasions, the all the scary scenes when they're like you have the kid like going through dark hallways and the creepy basement in the furnace room. Oh, you just opened up a whole new can of worms there, getting me talk about Zathura. I haven't seen that in a bit. I don't think it's like a great movie. I mean, it had like crazy special effects. I remember one time that wait, what the heck was it? In in Zathura, there's a scene where like there's a robot coming and then it's like it's tiny and he's walking into the room and then he just stops and the Josh Hutcherson kid, he says to the robot, "Give me a juice box, biatch." And I remember I ended up saying the word biatch at kindergarten one day. And I heard this kid, like, I think I got in trouble. I didn't say it at the kid. Like, I didn't say it to someone. I just kind of like, I used it in a sentence because I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to say it. Heard it in the movie. And I heard like one of the kids, like, I got in trouble, but one of the kids in my class, I heard him say like, "Don't say that word. My dad says it like all the time." I've never heard someone say biatch uh, unironically. Was it a spin-off of Jumanji? I mean, it's the same director, right? Was did Favreau direct Jumanji? At least you didn't say that from the movie. When I was a kid, I didn't know that word because keep in mind I saw this movie when I was really young. We had a copy of it. I forgot who gave it to us. But yeah, there's a scene where the kid says, "You're such a dick," but like he says it to his older brother because his brother's being a jerk. But I didn't know that word, so I couldn't figure out what he was saying. I was like, "You're such a deck?" I'm like, "What does that mean?" Yeah, I remember that like those days when you're a kid and like you'll hear a word and you don't know what it means, so you'll relate it to the next like to the nearest word that sounds like it and you're like, "Oh, it must mean that, right?" A movie that conveys that like really 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 well is Mary and Max by Adam Elliott. So in Mary and Max, you have a little girl and an adult who are pen pals, but the little girl, everything's new to her in the world. So she'll there's a lot of scenes in that movie when she's a kid where she'll just get words wrong, like she has a neighbor with agoraphobia, so he's afraid to leave the house like severely, and she's like, I have this neighbor who's scared to go out of the house. He has something called homophobia. It's so funny. And later in the movie, she's like, she's telling like this girl at school where babies come from, and she's like, yeah, babies come out of eggs laid by rabbits, because earlier in the movie Max says that he was told that rabbis lay on eggs and they hatch into babies, but she's like, oh yeah, rabbits, you know. Yeah, that's how it is when you're a kid. A kid said, "What the hell?" when you're watching George in the Jungle in the theaters. I never saw George in the Jungle, but I did see like I had a VHS tape that had the like the trailer for George in the Jungle, and I still remember like what the soundtrack sounded like. It was like George, George, George in the Jungle. It's like a jingle for it. Gosh. Man, if I were to watch, now I'm thinking about Zathura. The amount of scenes in that movie where the brothers are fighting and they're just screaming at each other. I'm thinking of the scene when the little brother is hiding in the not the closet. He's hiding in like the dumbwaiter or whatever, and the Josh Hutcherson kid, he opens it up and he starts lowering it, and the little brother's like, "No, pull me up." And Josh Hutcherson saying, "You're not still scared of the basement, are you?" and and the little brother screaming as he's descending into the darkness. And then Josh Hutcherson saying, "3-year-olds are scared of basements." And when I was a kid, I was like, wait, so the little brother's three 3 years old? Oh man, being a kid was funny. You just believe everything, you know? You don't have a grip on things like sarcasm. A what? Nah, we have a ways to go with the sea rhinoceros and the sea bear. Here comes a train. Give it up to our friend the train. Trying to feel out the mouth here. Did I paint the sea bear off stream? No. The I baked the sea bear and he's cooling off. He's probably cool by now, but so here's the thing. I have in my other studio space I have in like an air compressor and an airbrush. I'm debating on like I think it would be cool to airbrush the sea bear, but I'm probably not going to do that because it would make just like it's going to look fine if I just paint it, not airbrush. It's going to look good. Popeye turned out great. And I'm not set up to film myself airbrushing. So I'm probably just going to paint them by brush, regular brush. What was my favorite adult joke? The first one I understood as a kid? I don't even know. I started watching Family Guy when I was 12. So at that point, like adult jokes, they were just they were just becoming jokes for me because I was consuming stuff that wasn't explicitly for kids anymore. Though interestingly enough, there were just like kids movies used to have a lot of adult jokes because obviously like filmmaking and distribution, it was different back then. Like you could make a movie for kids, like explicitly for young kids, but these producers knew that parents were going to have to take them to see them in the theaters. So recently I watched the Cat in the Hat live action movie, and there's like a lot of like really like inappropriate jokes in that film. I'm like, this is so bizarre. So I didn't see the Cat in the Hat movie when I was a kid. I didn't see it until recently. I was like, I got really sick when I came back from a camp a few months ago, and I was just in my room, and I'm like, well, I'm already in pain, so let me torture myself by watching the Cat in the Hat movie. That movie is complete mayhem, by the way. But I watched the Grinch movie with Jim Carrey, the Ron Howard film when I was a kid. Me and my sister loved that movie when we were kids. And there was a joke where like the babies are floating in the baskets and they're coming to Whoville, and one of them like lands on someone's doorstep, and the dad runs up, or the husband or whatever, and he says, "Honey, our baby's here." Then he looks closer and he says, "He looks just like your boss." And I remember my mom would always be like, she would always like snicker and like roll her eyes at that scene. She would be like, "Oh my God." And I remember being like, huh, I wonder, like, my mom always reacts that way when this joke happens. I wonder why. And then I look back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, it is kind of weird. And then there was shit in that movie that I like didn't even remember. Like when Jim, like when the Grinch is like bouncing around, like he comes out with the pipe, and then he like falls face first into Martha May's bosom. I didn't even remember that when I was a kid. But yeah, it's like watching kids movies from back in the day, you can really see that, like, oh yeah, nowadays when you make something for kids, you can literally make something for babies, because you know that like the babies have iPads and can fully navigate these distribution models. Like the barrier to get to children has fallen. But like to think that back in the day, children's entertainment wasn't just children's entertainment, it was like family entertainment. So films were specifically made to appeal to like a wider audience, even if it was the freaking Cat in the Hat movie. Help me out. What are some like other like adult jokes that were like in explicitly kids movies? Like I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm trying to think what age I saw Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but that definitely had like some adult jokes. Like when he puts on the X-ray glasses and he looks at the woman and then is like, he takes them off and he's like, yeah, there's a few adult jokes in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but Pee-wee's Big Adventure is like also got the Large Marge sequence in that terrifying stop motion T-Rex and the clowns. That movie, yeah. Tomorrowland. I saw Tomorrowland in the theaters with some friends when I was a teenager, but I don't remember anything about it. I just remember George Clooney's in it. It did not come out in 2019 though. Oh yeah, there's the okay, Ink Spot. So I was I was watching the Grinch movie again, like this past Christmas, and there was that scene where all the people are partying and they're putting their keys into a jar, and I'm like, I'm 24 years old, and I was like, what does that mean? What do the keys in the jar even mean? Is it like some kind of a swinger thing? And then I looked it up and I think it's something like that. I like don't even remember what the definition was, but yeah, just the fact that I'm in my mid 20s and even I don't know what that means. And when I found out, I'm like, why what the huh? It's very very peculiar. Oh, Shark Tale. Yeah, but early early DreamWorks movies were always characterized by the fact that they had like more vulgar jokes. Like that was a thing. I watched Road to El Dorado as a kid and that had like vulgar moments. I didn't even notice them like that much. I loved I loved Road to El Dorado as a kid. But I didn't even notice that there was like that Tulio and what's her name? Forgot what her name was. The girl that everyone on Twitter likes. Yeah, I didn't even notice that they were like making out and like getting frisky. But I remember watching it as a kid, and I think there when I got a bit older, I noticed that there was a line where Tulio was like, "Let's get the gold and get the hell out of here." I was like, "Wait, did he just say hell?" Yeah. Yeah, DreamWorks has a very complicated past. And then you have something like Madagascar, which is like clearly like for kids, but they have like references to Planet of the Apes and like American Beauty, both of which are definitely not kids movies. It's like, oh, this has to be for the adults in the audience. But they also date the movie like really, really, really badly. I'm trying to think what adult jokes were like in Shark Tale. I don't remember. We don't talk about Incredibles 2. That's I would thank you to not bring up Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is it's definitely not as bad as Ralph Breaks the Internet, but it's just like it's one of those movies that is specifically designed to be just passable enough for you to walk out of the movie theater and say, "Oh yeah, that was good." Then you just are supposed to not think about it ever again. I am an Incredibles 2 critic. Shark Tale, they had a promotional thing where he talks about seaweed. I buy that. There's a joke in that movie. I I'm trying to think when the last time I even watched Shark Tale was. I should like I remember watching that movie all the time in the back seat of like my parents' car in like I remember there was a like a CD player because for a few years cars had that. And I remember watching Shark Tale like in the back of the car all the time. But the last time I watched Shark Tale, there's like a scene where Oscar's like he's like, "Yo, dap me up with Mr. Sykes." And Sykes is like he's like, "No." don't dap me up right now. I'm mad at you because you owe me money. And Oscar says, "Hey, don't worry, Sykes. A lot of whitefish can't do it." And it's like, wait, what? That Shark Tale just has so many problems, like that you're just supposed to like accept. Like the universe doesn't make any sense. And I will say something that I have to give, really have to hand it to Pixar is I loved Nemo when I was a kid. Nemo's like an amazing animated movie, but I really appreciated that all of the fish in Nemo are real fish. Like I remember watching Nemo and then going to the aquarium and being like, "Oh, these are all fish that I saw in the movie." Meanwhile, you have Shark Tale where I mean, you do have some like real fish there, but the fish look like people. Like they're clearly they're anthropomorphized fish. But yeah, when I was a kid, I had problems with the story for Shark Tale. I'm like the main guy, Oscar, is just like he's so superficial. Like when I was a kid, I remember thinking it was kind of weird. I'm like, wait, this guy is mad that he's a nobody and he wants to be a somebody. But so wait, being somebody is just like having money and being in billboards, like is that it? All because he's lying for something he didn't do? Like what? My mom didn't like Shark Tale when I was a kid. She was like, I don't like the story, and yeah, it's not a really good story for kids. Yeah, the Shark Tale just doesn't make any sense. Hold on a second. There was okay, yeah, wait. So it had that problem where the character has to look like the actor that plays him. So that was like a huge problem when they were working on B movie, I heard. Because in B movie they kept trying like to make Barry B. Benson, wherever the heck his freaking name is, they kept trying to make him look like Seinfeld, and it was like they had to really try. They made hundreds of versions of the Barry B. Benson before they found one that they could work that they could agree on. Game Boy Advance has Shark Tale and Shrek. Yeah, I I never saw a movie on a Game Boy Advance cartridge. I did eventually play Game Boy Advance games, and I had so much fun doing that. But that was only after I discovered that, oh, yeah, you can play Game Boy Advance games on a DS, because I just didn't know that you could do that. I had a DS, I thought I could only play DS games. I didn't know for years that you could get, like, Game Boy, like, you could play Game Boy Advance games. It was the same thing with, like, the GameCube backwards compatibility we were talking about last night. Making some good progress here. Trying to think of other DreamWorks movies I like growing up. I liked Over the Hedge a lot. Over the Hedge was a fun watch. It was a fun movie to watch with your friends at a play date. I didn't see B movie as a kid. The first time that I saw a B movie was like I think I was like maybe I was like 13 or something and I was at a friend's house and they wanted to pick like a purposely bad movie and I I was there and they were like let's watch B movie and we're watching B movie and I'm like not getting it the entire time. I'm like I'm taking it too seriously. I'm like wait, why is the boyfriend like so threatened by a bee like the guy that's played by Patrick Waterburton. Was it was it DreamWorks that like really popularized the trend of like oh get A-list celebrities to to voice the characters, not actual voice actors. Just get celebrities. That's all you need. Yeah, the the sushi joke in Shark Tale. Yeah, it doesn't make the universe just doesn't make any sense. And like even when I was rewatching it recently, like there's some very basic like world building things that don't make sense in that movie, but also just something like them constantly referencing Jaws in that movie and the sharks are like, "Oh, that's our theme song." It's like, "What? Wait, so you guys have seen Jaws? Like how's this working here?" Yeah, that movie's like the movie's so bad. Yeah, I don't think I've seen Will Smith in very many things because he's like super famous, but I haven't seen him in many stuff. I remember I saw that movie After Earth in the theaters, didn't enjoy it and never thought about it again. And yeah, it's just like then there was the Will Smith slap, which to this day feels like the most like that doesn't feel real. I can't believe that actually happened. Like that was the most like I'll watch it on YouTube and I still don't believe it. Patrick Waterburton was in Warburton, excuse me. He was in Seinfeld. In Shark Tales, Jaws should be a bear or human above water. Yeah, call it like bears or humans. Yeah, yeah, Jaw like excuse me. Shark Tale it has like that same problem that like the Cars franchise does where it's like except I would say that even Cars like kind of makes more sense where like I personally I think the first Cars is good. It's a really, it's a well-made animated movie for kids. It's palatable for adults. I think it's a solid movie. I think that people just rip on Cars so much because of like how bad like the sequel was and stuff. But I do agree that like the universe in Cars just doesn't make any sense at all. There's a lot of things that are done for like visual jokes that like make sense as long as you don't think about them for more than 5 seconds. But if you do think about it for more than 5 seconds, you're like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. But I would say that I'd say that Shark Tale's worse in terms of like how little sense the world makes because there's just so many different layers of things that don't make sense that just collapse in on each other. Did Angelina Jolie play the gold digger mean fish girl from Shark Tale? Was that who it was? Because that fish looks like Angelina Jolie a bit. Yeah, I think like yeah, the 2006 Cars film, it's like sure it's not Wally, it's not Monsters Inc. It doesn't have the sheer like oh my gosh, like Lightning McQueen and Mater is like nothing compared to the dynamic duo of Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc. But like I think that Cars has some like really good directing and it has a good story that's well told and well conveyed. But I was I was watching it a while back and there's that scene where Lightning McQueen he's trying to beg for help like for these strangers are just passing through Radiator Springs to like he's asking them to like free him and that he's like a famous race car and they don't believe him and there's a scene where their lights blink as if they're locking their doors and like at the surface level that's a very funny joke. It's like oh haha they're uncomfortable so they're locking their car doors. But at the same time it's like wait, why are they locking their doors? Like Lightning McQueen's not going to open them up. He's not going to open their doors, right? Anyway. And even if he did, like what would he find, right? It's a ripoff of Doc Holliday. I don't know what that is. There is definitely a thing. There's a theme in the animation industry of very similar film premises coming out suspiciously close to each other. We've talked about this on stream before, but like there's a lot of examples. The most peculiar example I can think of from recent years was 2019 when three animated movies about Yetis came out. Smallfoot, Abominable, and Missing Link. So bizarre. Got some epic thunder going on. And it's not because of like the audio filtering. Like there's been no thunder this whole time. I'll unplug my computer. Oh, your cousins watch Cars over and over again. You got bored. Yeah, that can. I get it. There's been like some pieces of media where I kind of felt the same way. There was this one SpongeBob DVD that we had at my grandma's house, and I watched it so many times that I got like kind of sick of the episodes on it. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Hexatoons? Thanks for joining in. Wait, let me show you what we got here. We're our progress on the sea rhinoceros. Sea Bear is downstairs cooling off. We made him last night. Yeah. Wait, so Hexatoons, we perhaps you could give some input. So now that you have crushed our membership goal for the month, I'm able to add more. I'm able to add more custom emojis to the chat lineup. So like, hold on, I'm trying to pull them up. So like these emojis, this was the limit of like custom emojis I could add to the chat. You have to get more members in order to add more. So I was asking the chat, like, what are some more custom emojis I could add? Like, if there are any, I don't know how long you've been watching my work, but if there's like any any clips from my animations that you'd want to see, like someone recommended like hibernation Sandy. I feel like I have to add like a few from BrickBob films. Nah, the sea rhinoceros only shows up in the last shot for like 5 seconds. But so like that's why, as you can see, according to the illustrations I did, so the sea bear is going to be animated. So like the head and the arms all have to be soft clay. Body's going to be hard clay. But the sea rhinoceros isn't going to be animated nearly as much. I'm just going to have like, I think I'll probably move his eyes a bit, or definitely the mouth. I'm gonna have him like drool and stuff. But the sea rhinoceros is just another excuse to like sculpt another beast, which is why I figured like I'm just gonna make him a proper sculpture. He will be painted and stuff. He'll look great. Patrick with a board nailed to his head. I want to throw in some like Brick Bob Films ones. Those could be fun. But that's the thing. These emojis are like really small, so they have to like read from far away, you know? So I'll do a little digging. Good choices for favorite Pixar films. Incredibles is amazing. Ratatouille's amazing. I just rewatched that again recently. That movie is so, so, so good. And Wall-E, I remember when Wall-E came out. And it's like a lot of these Pixar movies, like when we were kids and they were coming out, we thought, "Oh, this is just another good movie." But then you watch them as an adult and you're like, "Oh my God, these are even better when you're an adult." Wall-E was amazing. That movie was like incredible. The first half in particular of Wall-E is just insanely good. Hold on, I have to stand up for a bit. Ugh. Yeah, yeah. I regret to inform you that I'm not using the adjustable height motorized desk, so I can't angle it up, or I can't bring it up and do work standing up. I would like that's the thing. I would rather put the money to buying the brand new Lego SpongeBob set to like getting another motorized desk. But right now, I don't think I could financially justify it. Can't wait for them to make a sequel to Wally where they're just gonna turn it into garbage. Like I don't know what would you do for a Wally sequel? Like what are you gonna do? What I don't know what you would do for a Wally sequel, but I feel like it just has to happen at some point because at this point, what else is Pixar gonna do, right? Toy Story 5's close to $1 billion. I heard Toy Story 5 was good, but I don't I'm so apathetic to the idea of there being a Toy Story 5. Cut off this tail because here's what happens. The tail has got I need a little more distance to fill out the rest of the body a bit. Wally was inducted into the National Film Registry. That is fine with me. I heard that what the heck is it? If I'm thinking of the same thing, I think Shrek was also inducted. I don't know when this happened though. I'm mixed on the original Shrek. For me, Shrek 2 is just so much better. Like I just have mixed feelings on the original Shrek. Like I'm not I I need to give it a rewatch. It's just when I want to watch Shrek, I would so much rather watch Shrek 2. Like I feel like it has a lot more than the original Shrek. I know that the original Shrek was like a really big deal at the time. No one remember Shrek 4. Yeah, it's crazy to think that Shrek 4 came out like only 3 years after Shrek 3. Shrek 4 is actually really good. It's definitely not really funny. It definitely isn't, but it knows what it's going for. It's going for a more poignant, dramatic. It's basically the Shrek version of It's a Wonderful Life, but it does it well. It knows what it's trying to do and it does it well. But yeah, it does have that like I don't think it got very good reviews when it came out. I think it made a lot of money though, but I just remember when it came out in 2010 and hearing like it was marketed as like Shrek the final chapter, which obviously is turning out not to be the case. But nowadays, I mean, it was just marketing, right? Like, of course they're going to make more one day. They're just kind of putting it on hold for a bit. And then the very next year, they made the Puss in Boots spin-off. Just trying to milk a bit more out of the Shrek IP, right? The final chapter, haha. Yep. Nah, 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 nah. They like who would be surprised if we got like 20, like Toy Story 20? Like, come on. It's gonna happen. What I think I'll do is I'll take measurements of the sea bear, record them, sea bear and sea rhinoceros, record them, go over to the art store and like get a couple planks I can like nail them into so they'll kind of be like trophies for after filming. People are really, really upset about the animation in Shrek 5. Like, there was a lot of backlash. Personally, I didn't think it was that bad. I think that it makes all the sense in the world that after there being no mainline Shrek movie since 2010, that there is going to have to be a lot of changes to the animation style and the art style. I mean, just look at Puss in Boots 2. Oh my gosh, that movie's unrecognizable from the previous Shrek films. I think that something had to change, and personally, like, I'm surprised that they didn't change even more from, like, from what I saw in Shrek 5, I was like, oh, this is kind of tame looking. Like, I thought that they were really going to change it a lot, but no. There was a trailer that came out recently for Shrek 5, but I don't even remember it. I'm just putting on these plates here to kind of get the vision. Remarkable progress. I hope they don't make more Puss in Boots movies. Like I mean you could, but I don't know why. Like why you would. There's no way they could make something better than Puss in Boots 2. Like Puss in Boots 2, that that's like to me that's one of those movies where it's like it's so good like there had something must have gone wrong. There had to have been an accident. Like that like something must have happened. We can't have nice things these days. It's kind of like how K-pop Demon Hunters like turned out to be like actually pretty damn good. It's not like an animated masterpiece, but it's not trying to be. Like it's good, it's simple, it's fun, it's clean, it's cushy, it's got catchy music and stuff. And I cannot wait for when they make a sequel where they will inevitably make something that's confused, mixed up, and completely misses the point of what people liked about the first K-pop Demon Hunters to begin with. Like it's gonna happen. And that's fine, but in the meantime, I will enjoy the first K-pop Demon Hunters for what it is. Yeah, I don't know what it must be like writing for. I mean, of course, Shrek was kind of characterized by its pop culture jokes, but I don't know how you would do that now compared. I don't know how different it would be writing in pop culture jokes now compared to like back in the day, 2001, 2004. Because like everything's so fast. How do you keep up with all the pop culture goings on? Someone reacted to Survival of the Idiots. Yeah, I think I might have seen what you're talking about. I did watch a reaction video to my Survival of the Idiots adaptation. Yo, coming up on 20 likes. Let's get it. Ugh, gosh. Yeah, like if Shrek just oh man, I don't I really the writers for Shrek 5, they have a tough road ahead of them. I really don't know what you can do for for writing a new Shrek film. I don't even know what it was like writing for an old Shrek film, writing in doing what they did, modernizing a fairy tale world. Like I don't think I would see Shrek 5 in theaters to be perfectly honest. I'm sure it's going to make all the money, but I don't know. I wouldn't say it feels too late. It's obviously never too late, as we've seen with Toy Story 5 coming out. But like, I feel like the demand for a Shrek sequel, I don't know. It's one of those franchises that has so much prestige to it because of the significant cultural impact it had for a lot of people my age growing up. I'm not optimistic that Shrek 5 is going to be exceptional? Personally, I think Wild Robot was great. Puss in Boots 2 was great. I don't know what they can really do with Shrek that's going to be like really brilliant? Because Shrek was already a product of the time? I think that Puss in Boots 2 did a really good job. It maintaining the fact that like these characters live in this like expansive universe where it's all these fairy tales and nursery rhymes living together, but without like bombarding you with pop culture jokes that are going to date the film really badly. Puss in Boots 2, it kept the vulgarity that Shrek fans would typically expect, and it expanded on the Shrek universe. But I feel like if they try too hard to like hit all of these things that a Shrek film should technically hit, like the pop culture jokes and the satirical writing, like I don't know if it still can do it. It's a challenge, I feel like. And I can't imagine how much that film has riding on it, like riding on its success. Shrek Xbox game? What? I do not think I've ever played any Shrek games. I did see the Angry Video Game Nerd talk about a few, though, when he did that video. I saw a YouTube video recently talking about how Pixar, like where Pixar is right now, they're like in their era right now that it's the same era that like Disney was in the early 2000s where like in the 2000s Disney was coming out of the 90s where the Disney Renaissance happened and they had all those commercially successful musicals. But then the taste for animated musicals dropped off. People stopped coming to the theaters to see 2D animation. People were coming for 3D. Tastes had shifted, the market had shifted, and then Disney was like floundering for a really long time, like trying to figure out like, oh shoot, where do we go from here? Like what if we can't do this formula anymore and make commercially successful films doing it, like we have to do something else. So they started making a bunch of like really expensive like projects that flopped really hard. And then it was only after I think John Lasseter like got involved and took time away from Pixar that Disney got back on their feet. But in the process, Disney films and Pixar films started to become very homogenous, very similar. But yeah, like right now, like someone the video was talking about how like Pixar's like going through the same thing where they made so many transcendent, immensely successful and very films with very high cultural impact back in the day, but now they're trying to figure out how to recapture that magic. Percy Jackson season 3. I haven't heard about that. Maybe I'll have to check it out. The original Mulan is so good. Mulan's definitely my favorite Disney princess, even though she isn't a princess actually. Whatever, they put her in the lineup. But yeah, that movie's just so good. Animation's great. Characters are great. It's got great music. It's such a solid movie. It's got high drama, but it's also got like a lot of like casual like fun moments too. Villain's a bit boring, but no, Mulan is just such a fundamentally likable character in that movie. And gosh, it's so crazy to think that Eddie Murphy plays Mushu because then he became so famous for playing Donkey. But Mushu's literally is like Donkey before Donkey. Mulan is a princess because she hugged a king. I think he was an emperor technically. Yeah, I don't know if she's really a princess. God, the opening number when she's getting ready for to meet the matchmaker, that whole musical sequence is so good. Side characters are a lot of fun. Oh, wait, actually, so I have a funny little story about Mulan. So here's a little bit of trivia for you guys. Oh, gosh. When I went to the animation convention earlier this year, I think the directors for Mulan were there. I think they were leading the event. Let me just verify this. Oh, yeah, yeah, one of the directors from Mulan was there. I think I spoke to him for like 5 seconds, or maybe it was his brother. I was standing by the VIP room, and I'm pretty sure the director from Mulan like walked past me. I'm like, "Oh, can I go into that room? Like, I have this pass." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're good." Might have been his brother, but yeah, they were like running the event, and they were talking about how when they were making Mulan for the scene where after Mushu bites what's his name, Ling or Ming, I think it was Ling, he bites Ling's ass, and then he's like so disgusted that he gets out of the water and he's like brushing his teeth out, and he no Brancroft, Tony Brancroft. It might have been his brother though. They were both there. So he they were talking about how when they were making Mulan, they were contacted by Aquafresh, and Aquafresh was like, if you take our signature, like, you guys know what Aquafresh toothpaste looks like? So Aquafresh toothpaste has this very distinctive look where it has like it's red on top, white in the middle, and blue on the bottom. And for the scene where Mushu's brushing his teeth, they Aquafresh they wanted to pay Disney to put the red and the blue stripe on the top and the bottom to make it look like, Mushu's using Aquafresh to brush his teeth. And they said no. And it's funny because they were talking about how, like, okay, already, like, back when this movie takes place, there are no modern day toothbrushes. Like, no. But even though there weren't modern day toothbrushes back then, when the movie takes place, one could a reasonable person could like assume that there was a way to clean your teeth back then, right? So having a toothbrush doesn't really break the immersion, but putting like the signature look from a major like toothpaste brand on the toothpaste, like that would definitely take the audience out of the experience. I remember hearing them talk about that and being like, "Oh, that's so funny." Because yeah, that it would have been the easiest thing in the world to just add like the stripes to the toothpaste, get a whole millions of dollars just for that. But yeah, it would have been really a distraction. I 100% agree. Thought that was funny. That's interesting. Yeah, in Tennessee, there were some Disney people there, really good ones. I've talked about Aaron Blaise before. He co-directed Brother Bear. Very good animation. And the first act is like amazing in that movie, but the rest of it just drops off. But Aaron Blaise is still going strong, making his films. He was like the big inspiration for me starting these live stream work sessions. He was a big inspiration for me to start doing this. Thank you, Aaron Blaze. You had a Brother Bear CD-ROM? Oh, that's crazy. Huh. I remember sometimes like kids movies would come with like a game on the disc. Yeah, I forgot how you would even ask access them, but yeah, sometimes it would come with a game on the disc. I still remember when computers had they had like they all had disk drives built in. When I took apart the old computer that I started BrickBob Films with, it was like yeah, that thing had the disk drive. I remember using it. I remember there was like burning CDs was like a common thing for a bit. Brother Bear was based around the 9/11 hate for the Middle East. What? I really? So I've heard people talk about how like yeah, after 9/11 happened, there was like what was it? There was Sinbad which came out and by DreamWorks, and there was a lot of discussion about how the characters like Middle Eastern, but they like kind of wiped it of it. Granted, I don't want to talk about it too much because I've never even seen Sinbad. I really don't know much about it. This is just like stuff that I heard on YouTube a while back. There's so many interesting things to talk about film period, but like animated film is my niche. I need to give Sinbad, the DreamWorks film, a proper watch. I've never seen it. When I was a kid, I was rewatching Road to El Dorado over and over. We had a copy of Prince of Egypt, but I never watched it. We had two copies of the Prince of Egypt, but I never watched it until it came on to Netflix. And I the first time I ever saw the Prince of Egypt was I was 14. It was probably the perfect time for me too because I remember I also saw I saw Hunchback of Notre Dame when I was a teenager. I didn't see it as a kid, and those were like the perfect movies to see when I was a bit older than a kid because I was 14. I was edgy. I appreciated the darkness of it. But Hunchback of Notre Dame and Prince of Egypt are really, really excellent animated movies, but Prince of Egypt has to take the cake. Unfortunately, Hunchback of Notre Dame just has a few things that really keep it from being the best of all the Disney movies, but there's just so many excellent things about the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh, that's interesting about the the Brother Bear CD-ROM. Yeah, those I've talked about Mega Bloks Dragons here on the channel before, and like that was another thing where like the toys came with an interactive CD-ROM. You'd put it in your computer, your family's computer, and it those were so brilliant because like obviously they were really just like digital catalogs for more toys that you could buy and stuff like that. But like they had games, short films, and Mega Bloks Dragons had feature films too. Like those were the best. Those were really good times. I don't know what kids are playing with nowadays. I hope that they're playing with toys. I hope that, you know, we're all gonna still be given the opportunity when we're in our youth to develop imagination. But yeah, like, gosh, I look back on my childhood and I'm like, I was spoiled with how good toys were. And all of those things like fed into my imagination. Yeah, Prince of Egypt is just like such a masterpiece of an animated movie. It's very, very sophisticated. It came out at a very special point in DreamWorks history when their main goal was to make like they wanted to make a splash. They wanted to make something that could prove to the world we are a legitimately capable, we are a very capable animation studio that can make something absolutely incredible. We have the talent, we have the money, we have the artists, we have everything to make a seriously good film that can compete with Disney. And they succeeded in The Prince of Egypt. I don't care about whether it's religious or not. I'm not I don't follow along with that stuff. I just evaluate it as like, is it a good animated movie? Is it what's the story? Is it telling the story well? And it tells the story very well. There are people who are turned off by the fact that it's based on the Bible, but do not be fooled. It is just a legitimately fantastic film. And actually, I would even argue that because it's based on a story from the Bible, a lot of extra care and attention was put into it by keeping it the best it could possibly be and highly perform. The entertainment value is extremely high in the movie, but they also managed to do it with respect. That is a truly one of the best animated movies ever. That's the other thing is Prince of Egypt came out at the pinnacle of Western 2D animation. That's like the pinnacle. Kids still play with toys, but they require apps. I could see that. I mean, obviously, kids aren't using CD-ROMs anymore, which makes sense. But what I like about CD-ROMs is they're not like predatory. Like you can't put microtransactions on the CD-ROM, or maybe you can. I don't think you can. But yeah, like I hear that mobile gaming is like this. Like you can make a really good game for a mobile device, but there's so many just practices about the mobile game industry that are just predatory. Like that's how it is. Because I know that for me, when I was growing up, I was playing games on my mom's phone. Like, you know, smartphones were coming out, they were making a big splash. And I was playing games on my mom's phone. I was playing Temple Run, Angry Birds, I think was the first one. Pocket God. I remember when Wreck It Ralph came out, and I got the Wreck It Ralph mobile app for my mom's phone. But I'll never forget, like, take the original Angry Birds for example. Like I remember when that game came out, it was free. It was a free game. Play it for a bit. You can beat the first world, and then after that, you pay $4. Oh, Doodle Jump, that was another. What was it? Not Oven Break? The one with the gingerbread man that's running away from something. I think it was called Oven Break. Yeah, it was called Oven Break. Yeah, but I remember like the original Angry Birds game came out. It was they had a free version, and if you wanted to buy the paid version, you would buy it. That was it. You had the whole game. And then like years later, I was like, "Oh, I want to play through Angry Birds again." So I got the app, and you could not you could not navigate that app without having every opportunity for microtransactions to be shoved in your face. You could not avoid the microtransactions in the app. You couldn't. Like it was astonishing. Like I could not navigate the app without having every single microtransaction shoved in my face. It was so annoying. And it was a shame because like I played a lot. I spent a lot of times playing Angry Birds. Angry Birds Space, Angry Birds Star Wars, Angry Birds Rio, because Rio came out like bread and butter. The same people who worked on American Tail 2 and Balto. I never watched American Tail when I was a kid, and I never watched Balto, but I did watch We're Back. I loved We're Back when I was a kid. Gosh, how many animated characters has John Goodman played? He's played so many. Man just has the perfect voice for animation. Like playing big friendly guys, like that's he's really good at that. Shoot, the sea rhinoceros is looking pretty good. We're not going to finish it on stream because it's like, gosh, we've been going for over 3 hours, about 3.5 hours. Sea bear body is definitely cool by now, and probably have dinner later. I'll probably have like a dedicated stream for painting the sea bear and such. THQ, no, THQ. I played some fun THQ games as a kid. Shoot, the there's like I'm not super interested in like doing gaming live streams. Like, come on, if there's plenty of other white dudes that play video games on stream that you can watch if you want to do that. But there's like one game that I would consider playing on stream, and that's SpongeBob Atlantis Square Panta Square Off. Like that game is like legit great. The amount of SpongeBob references, like obscure SpongeBob character references in that game is great. That was like the first time that I played a SpongeBob game where it was like referencing characters I'd never even heard of or seen before. And of course, it was also referencing like the golden era of SpongeBob, like the seasons that I watched growing up, all the way leading up to Atlantis Square Pantis. Yeah, I did do a Clay Crumbling episode on that. Oh boy. So when I was growing up, I watched Will Vinton's. I have a funny little story about Atlantis Square Panther Square Off Clay Kremling. So when I was growing up, I watched Will Vinton's Dinosaurs. Some of you may have heard of that, may remember it, maybe you don't. And on the VHS copy I had, there was a music video at the start. It's part of the story, Mesozoic Mind, and I ended up turning it into a clay animation project on this channel. I made it. It was the first animated project I ever made using a DSLR camera. First project I ever did using DSLR. My grandfather took me to a camera store in like out of town. We took an hour to get there. I got my first camera, and it just boosted the quality of my animation so much. The visuals. Granted, I didn't know how to use a camera, but that didn't stop me. Just plugged it into Dragon Frame. So I made it, and I did a whole elaborate Mesozoic Mind clay animation project. I was working on it for a while. That was like one of my first big music video things. I loved working on that. And I loved, I just loved the Mesozoic Mind music video sequence so much when I was a kid. I remember singing along to it, and my mom would sing along with me, and it was one of those like childhood things that I really liked. But then when after I had published the the clay animation that I made for it, I actually ended up getting in contact with the guy who I think wrote and performed the music. And I was like 15 years old or something. Yeah, I was 15, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, through my animation work, I'm now in touch with the guy that wrote and performed this big piece of my childhood. And he still makes music, and he like makes songs that you can license. So I actually ended up getting a song from him from his website, and I used it for a montage sequence in the Clay Kremling episode for Atlantis Square Panther Square Off. That I used one of his songs. That's why that's what led up to it. I think his name he went by Charmer. That was his I think his music name at the time, but I don't know if he changed it. Will Vinton Cineplay. They had involvement in Clay Fighter and Claymates? Did they? I thought that was Danger Productions. I I think Danger Productions might have been for Clay Fighter 3, but I didn't know that. Like it would make sense, but yeah, I was under the impression that Will Vinton's like studio didn't have any involvement with the Clay Fighter series. Sea Rhinoceros still needs a lot of work, but this is like a really promising start. Like this looks really good for 3 hours of work. Like, come on. 1 second. Maybe I can show you guys. I just have to peel him off. Messing him up too much. Horns came off. The one where Clay squashes Plankton? Wait, Clay Kremling squashed Plankton? I don't remember that. I remember the one where I did like I referenced Mouse Soup by John Clark Matthews, where I had a Clay Kremling trying to get the sea ants from the the Operation Krabby Patty review, and Clay Kremling's trying to catch the sea ants, and they avoid him, and then he screams at the sea ants. Give it up for 20 likes. Oh, I remember that. Bottoms up. The music in Atlanta Square Panta Square Off is really, really good. It's unfortunately it's like heavily compressed, but it's really good. No, I think it was bottoms up. I think you were right. First time. Oh, the rain's back. I'm gonna have fun detailing this guy later. It's gonna be good. Oh, and we have a stream tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7 EST, 7 p.m. EST. We are going to be doing a scheduled stream. So this is, once again, this is a supplementary stream. But no matter what happens, trying to do the anchored streams on Monday and Wednesday. Correct. To answer your question, correct. I believe that's the part we're talking about the song that I got from Charmer. That was his music. Yeah, in Atlanta Square Panta Square Off, the second world, like the second, yeah, world two in that game is the kelp forest. And in the kelp forest, you actually encounter sea bears and you can fight them. And the sea rhinoceros is also an enemy in Square Off. Sorry, it's such a long title. Rolls off the tongue. But the sea rhinoceros isn't in the kelp forest. He's at like the second to last world. He's in the caves. In in Square Off, the second to last world is the cave world, and it's littered with sea rhinoceroses and doodlebobs. Like there's like an entire horde of doodlebobs at one point. I love it when it's terrible outside. I love just sitting inside working on my stuff. Doesn't get any better than this. Yeah, I really want to do Dunces and Dragons one day. I I just once again, it's just it hasn't been the right time yet. I don't really know when it will be the right time. I wanted to start with some shorter episodes first, but I feel like one day it's going to happen because as I've talked about in the past, like I have a whole bunch of my old Mega Bloks Dragons toys, and they would work. They would look amazing in an adaptation of Dunces and Dragons. That would be like a really epic special, though. I think that for if I were to do dunces in dragons like tomorrow, I wouldn't do any clay animation effects. I would have the toys take center stage. But in the meantime, there's plenty of good episodes to make still. But keep in mind this is also like my second project doing a full project on stream. Like this is still a new thing. So I want to build up these live streams a bit best I can. Maybe I'll get some like tin foil and like roll it along these plates just to give them a more like rocky, tough looking texture. I feel like I need a new Pearl figure, not gonna lie. I like the whole Duplo Pearl thing, but she's just a bit too big. Like she really is just a bit too big. Did they ever make like a Mega Bloks Pearl? Because honestly, like I would probably at this point I'd probably use a Mega Bloks Pearl. The Duplo Whale Pearl is just too cumbersome. Like I do remember like I was having a hard time filming with her because she doesn't fit. It's really difficult to get her to fit into a set. I like the episode where Pearl is having a slumber party and SpongeBob ruins it and turns into a zombie. That would be a fun episode to make. Specifically for like I could make like a scary SpongeBob claymation sequence for the zombie part. But I feel like I would just need a new Pearl because the one that I have now just isn't really working. The girl from Far Awayville. Wait, you got her name wrong. Her name's Girly Teen Girl. Don't worry about it. You're good. It's chill if you're just chilling in the stream. You don't have to you don't have to talk all the time. These streams can be a meditative spot. Hi, I'm here for the slumber party. Uh-huh. Do I know you? My name is girly teen girl. That whole exchange is just so it's so funny knowing the fact that like that actually is just some girl and it's not SpongeBob. You did you forget your name? I don't know what you're talking about. So funny. That's like one of those moments like in No Weenies Allowed when you have that sponge dude with the rock star hair, not the rock star hair, like the greaser haircut. What shaking, my man? Hey, do I know you? Doubt it. I'm a drifter. Just moved into town. Heard your club's pretty tough. Thought I'd check it out. I'd like to gain access to your social club, please. I believe my hairdo's been noted. Far Awayville. That would be a funny episode. Yeah, this will make a good statue, like keepsake for fans. After working on Squid Bob Tentacle Pants and spending all that time working on that statue for the final shot, I was like, ugh, this I should have made this like an actual sculpture. So where do you stand on the whole bald versus shaved debate? So your name's Reg. That's a great episode. I am so moving back to Farawayville. I'm just thinking of SpongeBob moments now. What season's that? Like season six? Like that's a good episode. But then you have grooming Gary. Oh, I that episode is worse than the Great Snail Race. I really don't like that episode. Like I know that at the end SpongeBob realizes that he was wrong. That's great, good for you. But that doesn't make up for the fact that the rest of the episode is just agony. If I were to remake No Weenies Allowed, I don't think I would have a choice. I think I would have to do the Mega Bloks Reg. That episode name, yeah, Grooming Gary, that is an unfortunate name for the episode. We were young once, the internet hadn't been, we hadn't We didn't spend too much time on the internet yet. Oh, those were the days. Goon meant criminal minion. Yeah, those were the days. Oh, I don't think in that episode. Oh, it's not Perch Perkins, but there is like there's a custom. I did find a custom Perch Perkins recently online. I don't know if I'll get him though. I don't use Perch Perkins too often. Mm, these teeth are gonna be beautiful. Episode jellyfishing from season one. Nah, I do not like that episode. This is a pretty great foundation, and what I think I'll do is I'll take the sea bear off of the Pyrex. Gosh, I hope this fits on the Pyrex. I could always use a different one, like a baking tray, and I'll put the sea rhinoceros in, and next time I'll start adding in details and such because I don't want to have to keep peeling him on and off once I have all the details put on and stuff. But the sea rhinoceros is looking pretty magnificent. Oh, I'm like, oh, I'm resisting like the reality that at some point I will likely be getting a motorized desk for this corner too. Because like here's the thing, so like I don't want to be sitting down for like hours and hours and hours. I do prefer to sit down when I'm working on sculptures, but like all this like looking down and stuff like that, like I'm a big believer in ergonomics, and I I like to have the option to stand up, you know? I'm a believer in not sitting down for hours at a time. Just admiring the work. I'm gonna do the teeth next time, I think. But also, I'll be able to like I'll be able to sit with this for a bit. Uh, how does this look? Looks pretty good. I'll have to take a picture of the progress and put it on my Patreon. What we have for the day. But this is great. It's very promising. Oh, and that's okay. We've been going over 3.5 hours. So, this has been tremendous progress. And with all of that said, I think I'm going to call the stream here. Thank you guys so much to everyone who showed up. Remember to drop a like, consider becoming a channel member, and check out the Patreon. You can join for free, just so you have another point of contact with me. If you ever want to stay up to work on my work, and up to date on my work, excuse me. So I am going to be doing a stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST. So look out for that. I will continue working on the sea rhinoceros den. Thank you guys so much for popping in, and I'm going to see you guys very, very soon. Have a wonderful day. Stay beautiful. Take care.